Imagine walking through a haunted house when you're trapped inside the world of Sinister. The projector flickers and you hear an eerie noise and you see a figure moving throughout the shadows. And then boom, you come face to face right with Bughuul. That is what I'm proposing in this video today. Sinister is one of the scariest movies that people have voted. It's on all those lists. One of the scariest movies of all time. Whenever people watch it, they get genuinely scared. And not just because of that one scene. Today, I want to break down why I think Sinister would make a good haunted attraction, a good haunted mazes. One of my personal favorite movies, and I really would love to see this updated to make a new attraction, haunted house. I think it would be really cool. But what is going on, guys? Welcome to Villains of Horror. If you love all things haunted attractions, horror movies, and just spooky stuff in general, I'm sure you're gonna love this channel. Subscribe for more, and then follow us on Instagram as well. But yeah, in this video, I just want to talk about why I love Sinister and why I think it will make a great haunted attraction to go through. So if you're a subscriber on the channel, you would know that we've gone through a ton of different haunted mazes and things like that. We love going to different haunted attractions all around the country, especially in Southern California, different varieties of budgets and everything like that. So we absolutely love going to these type of events. I personally would love to see Sinister as a haunted attraction. It would be cool if it was at something like Horror Nights, but doesn't necessarily even have to be there. It could be at another event, especially in modern time with the addition of newer and newer haunted attractions that are based strictly upon movies. I think Sinister would be a great candidate for a haunted house. For one, the character design of Bughuul, I think he's just terrifying just looking at the guy. That alone would get you a lot of scares. Now, I kind of compare him to a lot of the Stranger Things mazes. So at Horror Nights and then at Six Flags Magic Mountain to Vecna, I think that could work well. Just seeing how Vecna, how he kind of appears throughout the maze, and then at the end you see like the big grand finale. I think they could do something similar with that if they were to do that with Bughuul. Have him kind of lurking in the shadows so you may get a peek of him popping out here and there, and then at the end you get a real nice good picture of him. That's something that they just did inside Exorcist New Believers. I thought was cool just because of with the demon, how he was popping out throughout the actual maze, and then at the end, the one section when you're walking through, you just popping out constantly. I think they could do something similar to that with Sinister. Another thing that they could play up is the Super 8 effect. Something that I saw them do inside of Horror Nights with the Phantom of the Opera. Wasn't quite the same effect, but I like that old-timey feel. I feel like you could have that noise playing in the background. You could play with the wall, or even how at Not Scary Farm, one of their newer mazes is you're walking through a movie theater. They could play around with that idea, just having the like flickering lights, having like it be like you're walking through or into a actual movie clip. That could be done well. There's a lot of elements that you could play around with. And then of course, the big element is just the fact that having the little spooky kids that get taken over by Bughuul, you could play around with that a lot. One of the things that come to mind is with recent maze with Insidious, how they had you kind of going through that tight corridor here inside Hollywood. I know it was like actually was a little bit different inside of Orlando, but going through that tight corridor where you had the one guy up against the wall who was saying like he has your baby, and you had the like one lady who was kind of like just up against the wall, just being quiet. I think you could do something similar to that if it were to just like the children and just having them kind of like looking at you. That could be a real nice effect. It's something about having spooky kids, tight corridors, and them kind of just like they're just there in the open. That is just like an unsettling of event. Even if some of them were like mannequins and some of them were actual people and then just popping out at you, that could be done really well. Or you can have it set up that for each of the Super 8 video flicks, they're inside each different room. So for the pool party, that would be a room. The lawn work, I think that could be done nicely, and you can have that sound just on repeat over and over again, doing some type of effect with the lawnmower. Sleepy time, and then the barbecue. You can have them all inside their own separate room, and then you could play around with the idea of walking through inside of each Super 8 film. So they could do something like that where it's like the Super 8, you're like walking into the actual movie clip itself, and then once you're in there, you kind of play out through each room. And then you can have Bughuul just kind of inside the background of all of the different scenarios. That could be done nice. And then yeah, my grand idea for the finale would be you come face to face with Bughuul. There would be tons of him and just like basically walking you out. So like as you're coming through the final section, you can have like your classic just like Bughuul's just popping out at you all the time. Or you could do something even more grand, how they just did at Universal for Monstros 2, where they had a nice big animatronic that was at the ending scene. They could do something like that, have that just be Bughuul's face, even though he didn't really necessarily do that in the movie, but just for like special effects, that would be excellent if you were just to have him pop out at the very end, especially if they can have it in a way where it walks you through, snaking through, and there's tons of people just popping out, and then at the very end, a big Bughuul face comes at you. That would be great. I would personally love to see this at a bigger event like a Horror Nights. I do think this could be done. It just needs to be done properly. And especially with Horror Nights, they've done Blumhouse movies before, like The Purge, Freaky, and The Black Phone. So this would fit right in. If it were to be at something like Not Scary Farm, like an independent hunt, they could do it if it was like a real nice slow burn. I could see that working as well. Even going to the LA Haunted Hayride, if it was somewhere like that or a smaller type of venue, it could still be done well. I probably wouldn't see as many big animatronics or something like that, but I think it could still be done well. They could even have actual footage of the movie up on one of the screens. They could still play with that like actual Super 8 film, having it up on the screen. I think that could work well. It probably wouldn't be the same effect if they were to have it be like you actually like walking into the Super 8 film, but it could still be done. But I personally would love to see this movie be turned into a haunted attraction, a haunted maze of some sort in modern time. I think that would do well. I think people would love it, and I think it could be one of the scariest mazes based upon a movie in at least recent times. One of the scariest movies of all times, and that could definitely take the cake for one of the scariest haunted attractions, at least in recent memory. But what do you guys think? Do you think Sinister would make a great haunted attraction? Yes or no? And if so, where would you love to see it? Let me know in the comment section below. But speaking of haunted attractions, we went to Six Flags Magic Mountain's Fright Fest for the first time last year. That event was not what I was expecting. There was some good, there was some bad. Check that video out. It'll be right here. Subscribe for more, and we'll see you guys in the next one.